Part 1. The Illusion of Reality. Imagine waking up one day with a strange yet profound realization that everything around you, every object you touch, every sound you hear, every sensation you feel, might not be as solid, as permanent, or as real as you've always believed. What if the world you experience is not an objective structure, but something shaped by your very presence, your very awareness? Quantum mechanics, one of the most mind-bending fields of modern science, suggests that particles do not have a single fixed state. Instead, they exist in multiple potential states simultaneously. It is only when we observe them that they seem to choose one form over the others. This phenomenon is known as the observer effect, and it challenges the most basic assumptions we've held about the nature of reality. The observer effect reveals a startling possibility that the act of observation itself collapses all of a particle's possible states into one specific outcome. In other words, reality doesn't simply exist independently of us. It responds to us. It shifts when we look at it. It molds itself in some mysterious way based on our awareness. This implies something truly extraordinary, that consciousness is not just a passive witness of the universe. It is an active participant in the creation of what we call reality. If this is true, then our beliefs and intentions may carry much more weight than we ever imagined. The simple act of believing in our ability to heal, to succeed, to transform our lives could actually influence the world around us. This is not just about positive thinking or wishful dreaming. It may be, at its core, a quantum interaction between the mind and the fabric of existence. Some scientists have proposed bold theories to explain this phenomenon. One such idea is the orchestrated objective reduction theory, or ORCH, developed by physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stutt Hameroff. According to this theory, consciousness arises from quantum processes within tiny structures inside the brain known as microtubules. These microtubules may function as quantum computers, giving rise to conscious experience by connecting the mind with the quantum field. If this theory holds any truth, then our consciousness is not isolated or random. It is intricately linked to the fundamental workings of the universe. Our thoughts, emotions, and awareness could be echoing through a much deeper level of reality, influencing outcomes in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. These ideas are still controversial and under scientific investigation. Yet they offer a powerful new perspective, one that encourages us to reconsider our role in this vast, mysterious cosmos. If consciousness can shape reality, then every belief we hold, every thought we think, and every intention we set becomes a tool, a brushstroke on the canvas of creation. This perspective doesn't require us to abandon logic or science. Instead, it asks us to expand our understanding of both. It asks us to see ourselves not as passive beings drifting through a predetermined world, but as co-creators of reality. It invites us to live with more intention, more awareness, and more courage. So, the next time you catch yourself doubting your worth, your dreams, or your ability to change, remember this. Reality may not be a fixed, unchangeable structure. It may be, in some mysterious and beautiful way, waiting for you to shape it. Your thoughts matter. Your beliefs have power. And your consciousness right now is participating in the unfolding of the universe itself. To consciousness as the architect. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. What if the reality you're experiencing right now, this room, this voice, your thoughts, isn't fixed in stone, but is instead unfolding based on how you observe it? It sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But this isn't some far-fetched fantasy. It's a concept grounded in one of the most mysterious areas of physics, quantum mechanics. At the heart of quantum mechanics lies a phenomenon that continues to baffle scientists, the observer effect. When physicists observe particles like electrons or photons, they notice something strange. These particles behave differently simply because they were being watched, unobserved. They existed in a hazy state of probability, not as particles located in one place, but as waves of potentiality, spread out and undefined. But the moment they were observed, those waves collapsed into a single concrete reality. A choice was made not by the particle, but seemingly by the act of observation itself. So what does that mean for you and me? If observation causes a collapse of possibility into actuality, then isn't it possible or just possible that our consciousness, our awareness, plays a vital role in determining what becomes real? It's a humbling, almost haunting question. It shifts reality from something out there to something unfolding in here, inside the mind. This idea, though radical, isn't new. Philosophers, mystics, and spiritual teachers have long suggested that the mind shapes the world. But quantum theory gives this old wisdom a new scientific lens. We're not just passive beings drifting through a pre-made universe. We might be co-creators, architects, whose beliefs and attention mold what's possible. Let's ground this in something relatable. Think about moments in your life when you deeply believed in something, a dream, a goal, or even a fear. Did you notice how your belief seemed to shape your actions, your environment, and eventually, your outcomes? It's not just about motivation or hard work. It's about the internal conviction that bends external circumstances. When you believe you'll succeed, your body, your energy, your attitude all align with that belief. You see opportunities instead of obstacles. You take risks. You persist longer, and somehow reality responds. Maybe not always in the way you expect, but in a way that matches the energy of your belief. This is the mind sculpting matter, not metaphorically, but potentially at a quantum level. Now let's circle back to what was mentioned in the original video. The narrator describes how particles don't exist in any one state until they are measured. Until someone or something looks, the particle exists in a cloud of possibilities. This is the famous double-slit experiment. A particle, when unobserved, behaves like a wave, capable of traveling through two paths simultaneously. But the instant someone tries to measure which path it took, it collapses into a particle taking only one path, acting as if it always had. So why does this matter? Because it suggests that observation doesn't just reveal reality, it chooses it, that the very act of paying attention changes the outcome. And if that's true on the level of particles, could it also be true on the level of human experience? Could our attention, where we choose to focus, collapse possibilities into outcomes in our daily lives? That's a powerful notion. It means that belief isn't just a passive feeling, it's a force. Consciousness isn't a side effect of reality, it's an active participant in it. Our minds aren't just lenses, they are levers, shifting the machinery of existence. Of course, this idea is controversial. Many scientists still debate whether consciousness truly causes collapse, or whether the observer effect is simply a quirk of measurement. And that's okay. Science is meant to question, to probe, to doubt. But even in the absence of consensus, there's something profoundly empowering about the possibility that we are not mere spectators, but participants in the fabric of existence. You're not a powerless observer of life. You are a creator, an architect, whose inner world influences the outer one. And that's not just spiritual poetry, it's a hypothesis emerging from the most precise and predictive science we have. So, what would happen if you started treating your beliefs not as whispers, but as commands? What if you truly grasped that the way you observe the world through hope or fear, faith or doubt, might influence what unfolds in a universe where observation shapes existence? Perhaps your attention is the most powerful tool you possess. Part 3. The Power of Belief. Have you ever stood on the edge of something new, a dream, a risk, a leap of faith, and thought to yourself, what if I really believed this could work? That moment of internal shift, where doubt gives way to possibility, is more than just a motivational cliché. It may be the spark that alters the course of your reality. Belief is one of the most misunderstood forces in our lives. We treat it as something optional, something soft, like a mood or a passing feeling. That belief is not passive, it is directive. It tells your brain what to look for, your body how to move, and the world how to respond. In the framework of quantum consciousness, belief is not a thought, it's a quantum command. Let's connect this back to quantum physics, just as the video did. In quantum mechanics, until a particle is observed, it exists in a state of superposition, a collection of all possible outcomes. It can spin left and right at the same time, exist here and there simultaneously. It's only when measured, when observed, that it chooses a path. But what if we applied this concept not just to particles, but to choices, to dreams, to identities? Think about it. Every future you imagine for yourself already exists in some realm of possibility. A future where you're thriving, in love, healthy, successful, fulfilled. Just like those quantum particles, these futures are all real until your attention collapses one into being. What you choose to believe doesn't just affect your mood, it determines which version of reality becomes your experience. Of course, this sounds grand, but let's break it down with something simple. Say two people both lose their jobs. One believes this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. The other believes this is the start of something better. Now, which belief leads to growth, action, innovation? Which belief creates more opportunity? Neither belief changes the external fact they both lost their jobs, but one belief expands possibility, the other narrows it. This is how belief operates as a filter, as a force. In the quantum worldview, consciousness and matter are not separate. Your thoughts may not just exist in your head, they might ripple into the structure of reality itself. When you believe something with enough clarity and intensity, it's as though your mind is choosing, from an infinite sea of probabilities, a specific timeline to anchor into. The video touches on how nothing is real until you believe it, and while this might sound poetic, it's deeply aligned with these scientific and spiritual insights. Belief is what breathes life into potential. Without belief, possibilities remain formless, unclaimed, unseen. With belief, they begin to solidify, to shape themselves around your vision. Think about inventors, visionaries, and artists. They believed in something before it was visible, before it was tangible. They collapsed their visions into reality with faith, persistence, and clarity, and the same principle applies to healing, to relationships, to personal growth. When you believe you can change, the neurons in your brain start rewiring. The energy in your body shifts. The language you speak changes. You begin to embody that future version of yourself, and reality, in its mysterious quantum way, often meets you halfway. But here's the subtle danger. The same mechanism works in reverse. When we believe we're powerless, unlucky, broken, that belief too can crystallize. Not because the universe is punishing us, but because it follows the energy of our attention. Our thoughts become our focus becomes our action, and our action becomes our result. We unknowingly collapse the reality we fear. That's why awareness is so crucial. You have to become aware of what you're believing, not just on the surface, but in your subconscious. The beliefs you carry quietly about your worth, your safety, your potential, those are the ones doing the heavy lifting. And if they're limiting, if they're fearful, they might be collapsing your possibilities before you even get the chance to try. The good news: beliefs can be changed. Your brain is not a fixed system. Neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to rewire itself, proves that. You can condition new beliefs the way you train muscles, with repetition, with emotion, with consistency. Affirmations are not magic spells. They're tools to redirect thought. Visualization isn't fantasy, it's rehearsal for reality. So ask yourself with gentle honesty, what do I believe about myself, about life, about what? Vast possible. And then ask, are those beliefs serving me? Are they leading me to collapse a better future or a more limited one? Quantum mechanics may not yet fully explain how belief creates reality, but it offers a language, a metaphor, for the immense power of consciousness. And in a world where billions of realities exist in potential, belief may be the bridge between imagination and existence. In the end, you get to choose which future you believe in, and that belief might be the first brick in building a new reality. Part 4. The Quantum Mind. Take a deep breath and consider this. What if your mind isn't just a byproduct of your brain, but a field of influence that stretches beyond your skull, shaping and bending the very fabric of your experience? What if your thoughts aren't confined to neurons and synapses, but are woven into the quantum field itself? This idea that consciousness might be more than biology is gaining momentum, not just in spiritual circles, but in some of the boldest corners of science. It challenges the long-standing belief that the mind is only what the brain does. Instead, it proposes that consciousness might be fundamental to the structure of reality, more primary than time, space, or even matter. The original video touches on this point gently, suggesting that reality isn't truly real until you observe and believe in it. But let's go deeper. You are not just a brain housed in a body. You are an observer, a perceiver, a presence, and according to many interpretations of quantum physics, this act of observation, the awareness you bring, actually participates in shaping what exists. If that's true, then your mind is not just receiving reality, it's writing it. Let's look at an analogy. Imagine you're a painter standing in front of an empty canvas. Each brushstroke, each choice of color, each movement of your hand creates form where there was none. In the same way, your thoughts, your expectations, your intentions, they're the strokes of consciousness painting the reality you experience. The quantum field is the canvas, and your mind is the brush. There's a theory known as the participatory universe, proposed by physicist John Archibald Wheeler. He suggested that the universe doesn't exist in a defined state until it is interacted with by an observer. This goes beyond particles. It implies that the cosmos itself may rely on consciousness to fully be. Now pause for a moment and let that sink in. If this is true, even in a poetic sense, it means that your awareness isn't small, it's not insignificant, it's not lost in the noise of the universe. It might in fact be central to how the universe expresses itself. You are not a detached speck floating in a vast, indifferent cosmos. You are an agent of choice, of change, of creation. And yet, how often do we forget that? How often do we wake up and let old thoughts, old beliefs, old routines tell us who we are? How often do we believe that our reality is something happening to us rather than something we're helping shape? Here's where the quantum mind steps in. The quantum mind steps in. The quantum mind doesn't cling to a single identity. It knows that just like particles, we too can exist in many potential states, confident or anxious, courageous or afraid. Loving or resentful, who we become is not locked in. It's determined by where we place our attention and how we choose to observe ourselves. Every time you think a thought, you're reinforcing a neural pathway. Every time you visualize a future, you're rehearsing a reality. Every time you feel gratitude or fear, you're sending a signal into your body, yes, but maybe also into the field. Your inner world isn't private. It might be quantumly entangled with everything around you. And here's the beautiful, terrifying truth. No one else can choose your state of mind for you. You are the observer, you are the chooser, you are the only one who can collapse your possibilities into outcomes, not your past, not your parents, not society. You, of course, this doesn't mean you control everything. Life still brings randomness, surprises, and lessons we don't always understand. But it does mean that within every situation you have more power than you think, the power to choose how you see it, how you respond, what you believe, and that shift in consciousness, however small, ripples outward, not just in your mood, but in your reality. The quantum mind embraces paradox. It knows that you can be both scared and brave, broken and healing, uncertain and willing. It lives in the in-between. It understands that change doesn't come from force, but from awareness. So what does this mean for daily life? It means your morning thoughts matter. Your inner dialogue matters. The way you treat yourself when no one is looking, that matters, because you are not just reacting to life. You are feeding the field, you are conditioning the space around you, you are creating resonance. And resonance is real. Just like two tuning forks can influence each other through vibration, your thoughts and emotions are signals. They attract experiences that match, not in a magical or naive way, but in a deeply energetic, possibly quantum way. So ask yourselves, what signal am I sending? What mental frequency am I broadcasting? Am I operating from the belief that I'm limited, or from the knowing that I am potential itself? The quantum mind invites us to move through life not as robots, but as conscious creators, to stop living on autopilot, to stop repeating the past, to wake up to this moment, this thought, this choice, and recognize this is the point of power, not yesterday, not someday, now. You are the field observing itself. You are the spark becoming aware of its own fire, and that awareness, when nurtured, when believed in, when acted on, can turn possibility into presence and imagination into reality. Part 5, the reality you choose. Close your eyes for a moment and picture the life you truly desire, not the one you think you should have, not the one you were told to chase, but the one that calls to you in quiet moments, the vision that lights something inside your chest when you imagine it. Maybe it's a peaceful life in nature, far from the noise. Maybe it's a life filled with love, deep connection and purpose. Maybe it's success, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that feels like home. Now ask yourself, what if that future already exists? What if it's not just a dream or a distant hope, but a version of you that's waiting to be chosen? The core idea presented in the original video, nothing is real until you believe it, isn't about ignoring reality. It's about understanding your role in shaping it. In a quantum universe where multiple outcomes coexist until something is observed, your attention becomes the gateway, your belief becomes the doorway. And here's the most important truth of all. You are the key. Every moment you are standing in the middle of infinite timelines, infinite choices, infinite versions of yourself. Some are smaller, stuck in fear. Some are expansive, aligned with your potential and the timeline you experience. It's the one you emotionally and mentally align with most consistently, not once, not when it's easy, but consistently. Your reality is not a fixed structure you are trapped in. It's a dynamic field of probability responding to your consciousness. What you expect, you attract. What you fear, you empower. What you love, you expand. This doesn't mean life becomes perfect overnight. It doesn't mean you won't face challenges, heartbreak, setbacks. But it does mean that in the midst of it all, you still get to choose who you are, what you believe, how you respond, and that choice, that sacred quiet choice, is what defines your path. Too often we think change begins outside of us: more money, better circumstances, more recognition. But the quantum view flips that. It says when you shift internally, reality bends to meet you, not instantly, not magically, but faithfully. Belief isn't about wishful thinking, it's about embodiment. It's about waking up each day and choosing again and again to be the version of you who is ready, ready to trust, ready to take small steps, ready to see with new eyes. So let me ask you, what if today is the moment you start believing differently? What if instead of saying, "I'll believe it when I see it," you dared to say, "I'll see it because I believe it," because that's the truth of this mysterious mind-bending universe. Your consciousness is not a side effect of reality. It is the canvas, the paintbrush, and the artist. You are not separate from the world you see, you are a co-creator of it. Your beliefs are not just thoughts, they are instructions, and the most powerful belief you can hold is this suppers. I am not stuck, I am not powerless, I am not waiting. I am choosing right now the reality I want to step into, so choose the one that honors your heart. Choose the one that reflects your worth. Choose the one that invites your soul to stretch, even if it's uncomfortable, because every time you choose, you're collapsing possibility into presence. You're not just imagining your future. You're shaping it with every thought, every emotion, every act of faith. In the end, the most real thing in your life will always be the one you had the courage to believe in. So take the leap. Your new reality is waiting for you to believe it into being.